Datuk Seri, NST had also invited questions through its sister publications, Berita Harian and Harian Metro. Soalan berikutnya kita terima daripada seorang pembaca yang hadir bersama kita di dalam studio.
Assalamualaikum Datuk Seri.
Waalaikumsalam.
Saya Syed Abdul Rahman bin Syed Atad dari Johor Bahru. Soalan saya, sudahkah Datuk Seri melengkapkan senarai calon Barisan Nasional yang akan bertanding dan apakah kriteria utama pemilihan mereka? Terima kasih.
Hampir siap, tetapi senarai calon ni bila tiap-tiap kali kita tengok senarai calon ni, kita rasa nak buat perubahan. Tapi mungkin kalau ada masa lagi, kita semak belik-belik, terfikir mungkin ada calon yang lebih baik. Saya rasa proses tu sampai saat kita umum nanti mungkin ada sikit sebanyak perubahan, tetapi asasnya sudah ada. Kebanyakan kawasannya telah kita putuskan dan kriterianya ialah kriteria winnable candidate. Pada pendapat kami, sesiapa yang dikategorikan sebagai winnable candidate akan kita calonkan sebagai calon kita atau kita tentukan sebagai calon kita. Namun demikian, kita ada juga pertimbangan berdasarkan pada parti komponen kita. Sebab kita keluarga besar, 13 buah parti, jadi kita kena tentukan perbahagian yang difikirkan mencerminkan komposisi keluarga Barisan Nasional, dan dengan itu maka tidak semestinya kita dapat memenuhi harapan dan tuntutan semua pihak di peringkat kawasan, tetapi kita akan cuba menentukan calon yang sebaik mungkin supaya calon tersebut dapat diterima oleh masyarakat tempatan dan di samping itu juga dapat mencerminkan kehendak kita pada keseluruhannya.
Terima kasih, Datuk Seri. Datuk Seri, I would like to bring us back to the Sabah situation. Now, Sabahans and Malaysians have generally lauded the action by the government to firmly deal with the armed intruders and restore peace in the east coast of Sabah. What are the main lessons, Datuk Seri, that we can draw from this incident?
Basically, we shouldn't take security for granted. I think we have gone through a long phase of peace and stability in Malaysia. The communists laid down their arms in 1989. And since then, it's been a long period of peace and stability in Malaysia. But that incident, in a way, is a wake-up call for us. Not only for the government, as well as for the rakyat. Especially for the people in Sabah, that there are external threats and that we must deal with the external threat. We must be prepared. We must make sure that the armed forces, for example, are well trained. That includes the police as well, our security forces, are well trained, well equipped. So, when we decide to spend on defense and security, including for the police, people should not question that. People should see that as protecting our security, our sovereignty, and our territorial integrity. And I keep on saying that when it comes to our security, our sovereignty, and territorial integrity, there cannot be any compromises. And we must do whatever we can to ensure that Malaysians, anywhere, any part of Malaysia, will feel secure, will feel safe, will feel that their future will be safeguarded by the government. But at the same time, when it comes to security, it's not just the role of security forces, nor just of the government, but the rakyat. It's important for the rakyat to do their part and to provide a strong support for our men in uniform as well for what the government is doing.
Thank you, Datuk Seri. We have another question from the floor. Let us hear from Encik Iskandar.
Good evening, Datuk Seri. My name is Iskandar Naziri from Seri, Sarawak. My question is, how far has the Sabah incident affected Malaysia efforts in facilitating the peace process in southern Philippines? Thank you.
Those two are quite separate because the peace process in southern Philippines is essentially between the Philippines government and the MILF. And MILF, they continue then their discussions and negotiations within the context of framework agreement, so that within a certain time frame, they will reach a final agreement. But the group that is causing problem is a group that is quite different from the MILF. They have certain groupings there, including some warlords there, so to speak. And this is the result of the outlandish claims that made by the Jamalul Karim group, and they are seeking for something which we cannot concede, nor can we recognize. And therefore, they have resorted to use violence, and that's unfortunate, but we will deal with it in a way that we think it is appropriate.
Datuk Seri, you take on foreign media claims that this group of Sulu terrorists have been instigated by groups that are anti-Aquino, pro-opposition, and those paid to create trouble. You have said that both governments would investigate this. What is your next course of action, sir?
We have to continue with the investigation. When I spoke to President Aquino, he decided that, he told me that they will begin the investigation. He actually made some very interesting remarks. He said, look, these people are quite poor people. They certainly do not have the means to launch such an operation against Malaysia. And so, therefore, he thinks that they are funded from somewhere. That appears to be a very strong suspicion. But we need to investigate. We've got to have irrefutable evidence before we point a finger at anyone. So we are at the stage of investigating. We will continue to work closely with the Philippines government and as well as with the authorities concerned. And we must get to the bottom of this.
Alright. Datuk Seri, lagi mengenai isu pencerobohan di Lahad Datu, kita ada satu soalan dari pembaca yang turut hadir bersama kita di studio. Puan Yong.
Selamat petang, Datuk Seri. Nama saya Agatha Martayong dari Keningau, Sabah. Saya ingin mengucapkan terima kasih kepada kerajaan kerana menubuhkan zon keselamatan khas di Sabah dan ia merupakan langkah yang baik. Soalan saya, bolehkah kemudahan asas di sana juga dimajukan? Terima kasih.
Kedua-dua perkara itu perlu kita lakukan. Kita sedar bahawa Sabah memerlukan perbelanjaan tambahan untuk menyediakan bekalan-bekalan asas seperti api, air dan jalan. Dan kalau kita tengok dari segi bidang NKRA negara, sebahagian besar daripada peruntukan untuk kemudahan asas memang kita khaskan untuk Sabah dan Sarawak, supaya kemudahan-kemudahan asas di Sarawak Sabah boleh dibawa seimbang dengan semenanjung Malaysia. Oleh kerana Sabah itu amat luas, sudah tentu dia makan masa sebelum kita dapat menyiapkan segala-gala kemudahan asas itu kepada tahap seperti mana kita lihat di semenanjung Malaysia. Tetapi kerajaan adalah amat committed dan kita akan terus memperuntukkan peruntukan yang agak besar untuk kita melaksanakan projek-projek untuk meningkatkan lagi kemudahan-kemudahan asas di Sabah.
Datuk Seri, still on Sabah, in view of the recent intrusion, do our security forces have adequate capabilities and assets to safeguard the security of the nation?
Yes, they do. The assets that we have are sufficient. But this is an ongoing process. I think in terms of dealing with armed intrusion, we certainly have the assets. But as I said, this is a wake-up call where there are gaps in terms of our capabilities. We hope that we'll be able to close the gap. For example, the coastline of Sabah is just simply enormous. I mean, the eastern seaboard, we're talking about 1,500 kilometers of coastline, and that's a huge area to cover. We certainly need to put in more assets. We certainly need to have better surveillance system. But no matter how strong a nation, like for example the United States, which shares a common border with Mexico, cannot stop the Mexicans from crossing into the United States. So that is putting into perspective that if you know the area, if you go and have a look at the ground situation in Sabah, then you realize that it is a huge challenge. But nevertheless, we have some ideas, and we will certainly put into place a better surveillance system and tighten up the security in Sabah.
Thank you, Datuk Seri. We'll go for a break. You are now watching Conversation with the Prime Minister. We are going to take a short break, and when we return, we will take a look at questions regarding bread and butter issue. Stay with us.